And that's where you get into this, which is the deployment method to these bottom three. Is it private cloud, a public cloud, or a community cloud? And you can't look at cloud computing as I'm going to take one thing to everybody, because every single one of your customers is going to have a different approach to what they need and their maturity of using applications outside of their current environment. Small to medium-sized customers actually may be more open to using it than larger customers, because larger customers are very concerned about control. And as you move more to cloud computing, they're going to be concerned about shadow IT. Shadow IT, if you remember, it happened with the PCs and the mini computers in the old days, where people said in their departments, they said, I can't get this through my IT, so I'll just go out and buy a point of sale and I'll buy my own application, or I'll buy my own mini computer and I'll just run my own applications and I'll support it and they don't even know about it. That same thing can happen with cloud computing, because it is moving from being a capital expenditure to being an operating expense, which most of these guys can control on their own. These are some examples of software as a service. As you know, Google Apps, that's a great example where you can go out there and get applications and use applications in the cloud. Platform as a service, Google is one of those. If anybody here is an application developer, you will know that they have API interfaces out there that you can turn around and go use their platform to write your applications to. Amazon.com is exactly the same way. And then infrastructure as a service, which is what most people are very familiar with. So there are 4 core beliefs about the cloud going forward that I believe are going to drive where we in this room will play long term. First one is adoption will be motivated initially by cost and agility. Because of what we just went through, most people's capital budgets have been slashed dramatically. And so people are still trying to get their applications, and so they're running around trying to figure out how they can get a lower cost for the same application. And cloud computing is a great way to do that. Agility is another example. If you go to install a large ERP application, or you install a large CRM application, or even a purchasing application, it could take you 18 months to 2 years to get that rolled out. Where if you go and did it from a cloud computing point of view, you could be much quicker to market, and you could beat your competitors in that market by using that application. A network platform will be required to deliver the full promise of the cloud. And I want to go back to that point. This is very, very important. The network will be key to delivering cloud-based services. However you choose to deliver it, the network will be key. And so understanding that is going to be very important for us to survive long term. And there'll be multiple approaches that will be required to meet customer objectives. No single no single solution is going to fit every customer. And so you have to be the thought leader that is able to talk to your customers about how they are going to use which pieces of the cloud, which delivery mechanism of the cloud, when is it appropriate for them to use what application, because there's negative to using the clouds too. One negative is you might not be able to get functionality that you want specifically for your company until a certain release comes forward, or maybe never. And that's something that you'll never be able to take advantage of. So there's going to be a different solution for every vendor, every customer based on their specific needs. And then last but not least, innovation will flourish, but vertical knowledge will rule. And this is where we're kind of like the Trojan horse inside of our customers. When these network VARs come in, they're going to be talking about horizontal platforms and technology. And that's all well and good if you're talking to the IT guy. But where the majority of us in this room, the majority of you sitting in these seats reside, is out in the user. It's with store systems, it's with the merchandising group, it's with the purchasing group inside of the customers. And those guys want to talk about business processes and about their specific business issues. And I don't believe that anybody will be able to compete with us in the room of having those discussions because of your vertical knowledge. I will say that if you're a hardware-only VAR, you're probably going to have some rough times going forward, and I'm sure you're already feeling that if you're not starting to focus on a specific vertical. And if you are a VAR that's focused on too many verticals, if I was in business, I would probably try to narrow that down to a few that I could get very, very deep in, because vertical knowledge will continue to rule, will be the value that we're looking for long term. So I had 3 questions. I said, if I was sitting in the audience and I had heard that, what might 3 questions I would ask? So I said, is cloud-based computing the way of the future? And my answer is definitely yes, but yes, it's coming, but it's not going to be here tomorrow. In other words, it's not going to be radical change. It's not going to be something that, oh, if I don't go do a stage left in my company and invest everything into it, I'm going to be out of business. But I think that we would all be foolish if we didn't keep an eye on it and start assigning somebody in our company to go take a look at it and find out how it's going to affect my specific business and how I can take advantage of it in the future going forward. What's the role of the channel in cloud-based computing? Well, for distributors, I think that we'll stick to our core competencies of a value-added distributor, which is what ScanSource is. And that is making sure that we can be our consolidators of solutions. Whatever the definitions of solutions are, technology will change. But we as solution providers are always going to be providing the solution that our end user customers need. And if that means that we need to get into the business or we need to bring people together to talk about cloud computing or e-commerce or whatever the latest technology is, that's what we will do. And I think the same thing is for the VAR. A solution-oriented VAR will thrive if they remain the trusted business advisor and they can sit down with their end user customer and say, you know, you read a lot of stuff out there about cloud computing. Let me talk to you about it. Let me tell you where it is from a maturity point of view, and let me tell you how it may affect your business and how you should take advantage of it or not take advantage of it right now based on your knowledge of their business. And then you're that thought leader, and I think that that's what they will end up paying for long term. And the last question I had is, what will the successful VAR of tomorrow look like? And based on all of these new technologies, well, I can tell you from the manufacturers that I've talked to, certifications are going to be key. If you go back about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, most of the manufacturers were saying, how many VARs can I get? We just need more VARs. We need more VARs. We need more VARs. And what we're hearing today is, well, maybe we don't need so many VARs. What we need is fewer VARs that really, really understand our product and really can add value to our customers. And so many of the manufacturers are starting to put in certification programs, and I think that that's something that's going to be moving forward. And while it's painful and costly from your point of view, I think that it's going to be best for us long term because it'll weed out those guys that do not have the capability to satisfy the end user customer. Because right now the manufacturers, when those hardware-oriented only VARs put in a solution and it doesn't work, they end up calling the manufacturer because that's what's on the box, and the manufacturer's costs are going up. And so most manufacturers are getting smart enough now to where they say true value-added VARs, like you guys sitting in this room, not right here, have to earn a living and a margin off of the solutions that you put in so that you can continue to support their customers or their brand value goes down. Information will be king. These solutions and these technologies that are coming are fairly complicated, and so your end user is going to be looking for somebody to straighten that out and guide them through this transformation that we're getting ready to go to, and you are best suited to be able to do that. We'll have to offer total solutions, including software. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to own the software, but I think that you should partner with somebody to provide a total solution, whether it is in the old model where they pay for a license, or whether it's in one of these XS, I was getting ready to say, but I guess that's not the best one to say. X type of solution deliveries from the cloud. And last but not least, which I've been hitting on, is vertical knowledge will be essential. And I know everybody in here has deep retail vertical knowledge, and that's what's going to save us from a lot of the changes that are going on right now. So what's ScanSource doing about that? Well, ScanSource is always going to be investing to make sure that we support you with the solutions that your end users are looking for. And so we're taking our dollars, as we have always been since 1995 when we first started, and trying to determine how to best support you in the latest technology. And so we're staying abreast of things like cloud computing. We are trying to figure out things like hardware as a service. These are not simple things to figure out, how to move them out into the market and scale, but we are spending time there and we're starting to invest there. One of the areas that we're investing is in a social media platform. There's a lot of talk, if you go out and read, that there are people that believe, and I happen to subscribe to this a little bit, that applications will be delivered through the platform of social media out there today. And that's a far stretch for a lot of people. But if you start taking a look, there's 550 million people using Facebook today, and the largest area of growth is from businesses today. And it is a platform. It would make logical sense for them to compete with somebody like a Google or a Amazon.com to be created an application platform, which is where they're moving towards. And so we are putting our toes in that. We haven't got it figured out. We're learning just like everybody else, but we are making investments to make sure that we understand how to use this new technology that's coming about to create solutions to provide to you so you can provide to your end user customer.